Thanks, Jody.
Awesome. Thank you, Jody. Yeah, thanks everyone for joining us. I'm excited about this topic to actually do some very actionable things around AI. This is stuff you can implement tomorrow in your business. So we're going to cut straight to the chase and discuss what we're going to talk about today. So we're going to give you some tips and tricks of how you can actually use AI in the business. There's obviously the options are unlimited. So we picked a few examples that we thought were really relevant to a wide variety of business and organizations. We will talk about the cost of AI and how you can measure some of the ROI, things to consider before you implement it, and then from a security aspect, but also from a how do you actually do it. And then, of course, the question we all want to know is whether we're going to end up like the Terminator and whether we're going to be replaced by machines. So we'll talk a little bit about that and whether you can chill on the beach while you're running your business. So quick introduction of your hosts. My name is Olga Dietrich. I'm with our business technology group, and I got Aubrey with Creative Group here. And quick disclaimer, we're not AI experts, just people who are excited about this and love to use this stuff. So Aubrey is going to be my go-to person here, walking you through a lot of the examples. And the tools we're going to focus on are Copilot and ChatGPT. And just a quick disclaimer as well that the tools that we're talking about, they're the paid versions. We're going to talk a little bit about that later and give you specifics. But in case you're wondering, we're talking about paid tools today, specifically ChatGPT and Copilot. So Aubrey, take it away. Tell us how you use these two tools.
How much time do we have? 20 minutes.
No, 20 minutes.
Thank you, Olga. Thank you, Jody. Yes, like Olga said, these are the two tools I use every day, and many of us here at Nex-Tech have really leaned into. But I think it's important to note that everyone should find the tool that works best for them and for their business. For us, it's these, but this does not mean that this is the end-all be-all. So we're going to show you how we use it. First, we're going to look at ChatGPT. My opinion, the way I see it, it's a very powerful, creative thinking partner. And as Olga said, I come to you all from the creative department, the marketing side. So that's a lot of how I use AI, but I'm also a supervisor. So there's a lot of regular, business or admin ways that I use AI that would benefit, I'm sure, everyone on this call as well. So you'll see some of my examples today and how that all kind of presents itself. But yeah, it's really creative. If I'm doing anything where I need it to think out of the box or generate really solid text, I lean more towards ChatGPT. So I use it for creative writing, brainstorming, audio, video scripts. I use it for editing SEO content and improving wording or improving websites in general. I use it for designing complementary color palettes. Also for the business side, drafting agendas, contracts, or policies. I use it for this a lot, scopes of work, that kind of thing. I also use it for proofreading and refining tone. I use it for building trainings, workshops, or other custom GPTs, which we'll get into more later. This is super powerful. You can save a ton of time with this. It makes you can show up to a meeting with a really cool workshop that you haven't, spent months preparing. You can also use it to generate images, and ChatGPT uses a tool called DALL-E. I also use it for summarizing reports and drafting professional emails, making sure I don't come across the wrong way in an email. Nobody wants that. Also use it for formatting spreadsheets and creating quick visuals. I also use it a lot personally. I use it for travel, health, and meal planning. I've also used it recently for interior design. You can upload a picture of your living room and say, hey, redesign this for me, and it will give you the full mock-up. It's super fun. So even on the personal side, there's a lot of fun. We're not going to get into that today, but if you are excited about AI too, hit me up afterwards. We can share some of the other tips. Copilot. Its superpower, I believe, is that it's beautifully baked right into the tools that I use every day. That's why this is still in my use every day list. It's because it works in the tools that I'm in all day long. So in Excel, you can use it for formulas, tables, use it to summarize data with paragraphs. I'll say the potential of what Copilot could be in Excel is really cool. I think it's got a little bit more growing up to do. It's my personal opinion, but very, very cool, very powerful. Also Word. This is similar to how I use ChatGPT. The features here are similar. You can use it to summarize, rewrite, or generate content in your Word document. PowerPoint, we're going to show you an example of this one later as well. You can use Copilot to create full presentations from simple prompts, like literally 2-sentence prompts. and have a full PowerPoint ready to go. So I'll show you some examples of that. Teams, this is probably my favorite place to use Copilot. I think it's probably the most powerful, where I see the most benefit. We use it for taking meeting notes. It can list action items from meetings, or recap what was just said. I can click the Copilot button that I can see right now on my Teams window. I can open Copilot and say, what did Olga say earlier? And it will tell me in the meeting what Olga said instantly. I don't have to wait for a transcript or anything. Super powerful.
Yeah, and if
Stream.
I can add to that, it does both. It transcripts, but also summarizes, and it's scary how accurate it is at picking up on relevant information. It's really neat.
And to that point, I think part of that's because it can access so much more than just that meeting. It can look through my email inbox or SharePoint, and it can pull other relevant details and put it all together, which is really powerful. So Stream, I think not used as much, but it could be leveraged more. We use it for turning raw interview footage into video scripts. We can go on a video shoot for hours, upload that to Stream, go over to Copilot and say, okay, make a script from this raw footage that we can use for XYZ commercial. Outlook, also very powerful. You can use it while you're drafting your emails to review your tone and also sort your messages by priority. So if you come back from vacation and your inbox is full of 200 unread emails, you can open Copilot and say, okay, trash the stuff I don't care about and highlight the stuff that needs immediate action, just to kind of help you prioritize. The Copilot web app, I think a lot of people miss this feature. It's just like ChatGPT. You bookmark it, use it in your browser. It interfaces really similarly, but the best part is, the whole point of this slide is it has access to everything else that I do every day. So SharePoint, all of my Outlook emails, all the databases we have internally, everything that I'm using at the Nex-Tech organization, it has access to all of those things that that ChatGPT does not. So that's its benefit here as well. So you can also create custom agents in Copilot as well as ChatGPT. Again, we'll show you that later. So. All right, we're going to go right into the top 5 tips. Disclaimer, I've done a few of these AI presentations and I'm up to like 20 tips that I've put together for this. We picked the best 5 for you all today. So just know that there's a lot more to this. If you're curious and you want more, reach out. We thought we'd start with these for getting started. So tip number 1. Most essential thing to start with is that strong prompts give you better results. So if you're not happy with what the results are that I'll say ChatGPT, Copilot, any AI is giving you, you have to improve your prompt. You only get out what you put in. Anybody remember Yoga Whippy? So that's the first thing. So the keys here with a strong prompt are to state your end goal clearly. Tell it what you want it to make. Don't just assume that it knows what kind of format to use. You can include things like audience, tone, format, length. Some other tips in here. You can also ask it to remove purple prose. I was not familiar with this term before AI either. Really just means like flowery text, which, cutting to the chase on the next slide, this is a lot of what that is. Purple prose. Words like bombastic or plethora. We don't use those words naturally when we speak to each other normally. So if you ask AI to remove purple prose, it will take these kinds of things out.
I think, Aubrey, that also makes you sound a lot more human, right? Because I think we're starting to see where people are trained to kind of recognize AI. So if you get an email that talks about plethora, you probably know that not a human wrote that. So avoiding those will also help you, make people not recognize you're using AI right away.
Can stay under the radar a little better. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think we're all starting to see that. I know in my email inbox, I'm like, you used AI for this, which no shame,
Which
like
is okay.
I'm glad you're being more efficient, but like I can tell. You can also ask AI for certain tones, I guess, like natural tone is an example, or professional tone. You can also use other people to set the tone. In this example, Ryan Reynolds, think J.K. Rowling or any other author or celebrity. Like if there's a certain kind of tone that you want to match, like use that. Tell it that's the tone you want to go for. You can also this is my favorite tip. You can also sample your own writing, the style that we've all, I've spent the last 30 years, writing in a certain style, my own tone. I can upload or paste in my own emails, my own blog posts that I've written, my own LinkedIn posts. And say, this is how I write. This is my style. This is my tone. And especially if you're creating an agent, it's an easy way to do that. But then you can tell it to match your tone. So that's a pro tip there too. We already talked about the words to exclude. There's a link here on the screen that has the link to all of these words if you'd like to copy them. We will also have the slides available after this webinar if you want those as well. We've got some information on the last slide of how to get all of the best stuff. We do also have a spreadsheet that we call the prompt library. It's got tons and tons of prompts on it that are super helpful, all stored in one spreadsheet. So at the end of the meeting, we'll tell you how you can get your hands on that. Tip number 2, tell AI it can ask you questions. It's a really, really simple thing to add to the end of your prompts if you want that. You simply just type at the end of your prompt, ask me questions if needed. I do this all the time. It allows you to customize your responses instead of allowing AI to just guess or assume what you want. So it sounds kind of silly. To add this, but I'll tell you, it makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm working on prompts where I don't want it to ask me a question, like just give me the thing I'm asking for, just cut straight to the chase. But sometimes if it doesn't give you a solid response and you can tell it just doesn't have enough information, this is a small thing it can do to make it more custom or personalized. So this is also still on tip number 2. This is all about asking questions. So asking what else? Another thing you can add at the end of your prompt. So simply adding, what else should I consider? What are some potential risks or downsides? What would an expert in this field add? How can you challenge my assumptions? How could this go wrong? What's a completely different way to approach this? Or what would you ask if you were me? So just some sentences you can add to the ends of your prompts to help you get better results. So.
Yeah, it's also a great way when you're preparing for a meeting and you're researching something and you're preparing to present it to somebody else as a way to prep of what are some of the things that I might get challenged on. So yeah, use it as a kind of conversation partner.
Yep, for sure. Tip number 3, assign AI a role. I know there's a lot of people here today from a lot of different industries, but I can just only imagine that if you're like us here at Nex-Tech, we all wear a lot of hats, right? We've all got different things that we're good at. My opinion of AI, it's kind of the master hat wearer, I call it. It's not only, in my opinion, the jack of all trades, it really has mastered them all too. It's got access to so much information that could never fit into one brain. But it's really like thousands of expert brains, really, that's all wrapped up into one robot. It's kind of how I describe it. And you can talk to it 24/7 for free. How lovely is that? So sometimes you just have to tell AI which hat to wear during your initial prompt. And this allows it to stay focused on the role that you want it to help you with. It works especially well for content generation or research tasks. So here's some examples that I might start my prompts with. Act as a expert marketing strategist or graphic designer, public relations specialist, SEO strategist, customer service trainer, blog writer, technical trainer, sales consultant, supervisor, IT professional, or HR manager. So just think of all the roles that you're doing in your day or roles that you might rely on and how you can tell AI to help you with those specifically. Tip number 4, use dictation. This is also a really simple one. The keyboard shortcuts here, if you're on a Mac like me, you just push the F5 key and it will turn the microphone dictation on and off. Very simple. I know this has saved me tons of time. It's a very simple tip and giving me much better results. Also, the PC option is the Windows key plus H. You want to turn on your microphone for dictation. So the idea here is you just speak your thoughts casually and then refine as needed. It's really great for breaking the pressure of a blank page and just getting started. So that's really, it makes things quicker, not just in the time that it takes to get to the final result, the final response that you want. It just really saves time to get the thoughts out of your head. You don't have to worry about sentences and grammar and all of that. You just speak to it as if someone came into your office and you were giving them instructions. It's a lot easier to get out of your head that way. So I love this tip. Small thing, big difference. Tip number 5, use AI to learn. So AI can be a very powerful tutor. You can use it to learn about your industry or any other professional development topics. So there's so much you can do with this. One thing, explain, let's say SEO strategy, like I'm your student and you're my teacher, fill in the blank. This breaks it down really simply without it being too overwhelming. What should I learn next? Or give me a summary of this URL. I've used this one a lot, actually, when you go to a web page and it's like, I don't have 10 hours to read what's on this page, and you can just paste it into ChatGPT and say, okay, summarize what I need to know from all of this. And it's really helpful. This bottom one is very, very powerful, especially if you can remember to use it every day. So The prompt is, each day give me a small exercise or concept to focus on related to one of these areas, focusing through them as the days go on. Here are the ideas I wish to focus on, and then just fill the box. I want HR, I want leadership, I want accounting, I want SEO strategy, whatever it is for your day that maybe where your goals are and where you feel like you need to work on to continue learning. Just fill the list in, and then every day you go to this chat thread in your ChatGPT or your Copilot, and you just literally type the words "go" and send it off, and it will give you a bite-sized, like 5 to 10 minute little exercise to try. So this is great for professional development. Okay, that was all 5 of my tips. Any questions yet, Jody? Do we need to work on? Nope. Okay. All right. We'll look at some specific use cases just to kind of get you guys thinking of how you can use AI in your roles. So don't worry about reading what's on the screen here. This is really just kind of visuals of what's happening. So one fun thing is using Copilot to create PowerPoint. So I used this a few months ago to create a PowerPoint draft in 60 seconds, 35 slides of a PowerPoint, all the content that I wanted to share in that PowerPoint, all the notes, the speaker notes, all the images, the stock images, the colors, everything, all of it. It was not perfect. I'll just say that. There's still a lot of time to get it, how you want it, but it's a fantastic starting place. So here's what I did. Over on the left is my outline of the presentation I wanted to give. You can type this in manually as you want to, of how you want the PowerPoint to go. You can also have Copilot generate an outline of presentation about, I don't know, grass, doesn't matter. You can either do it yourself or generate the outline. Start with the outline. Then you go over to my PowerPoint app, and you click the little Copilot button. Hopefully you guys can see my mouse. Little Copilot button up here in the top right. It opens this window here, and then you basically say, create a PowerPoint file from this outline. Link that file, or link that Word file, and incorporate relevant graphics and images. Use a simple template with brand colors: black, white, red, teal, gray. Use Roboto font. That's our font. So I hit go, and then it went off to the races, and I had a beautiful PowerPoint. These are also some starter questions that you can use in PowerPoint as well. So create a presentation about blank, create a presentation from file, or add slides about blank. So very, very powerful. Save you a lot of time. Next tip is creating custom GPTs or Copilot agents. The idea here is that you can train it once and use it daily. This is kind of a next level tip, but very helpful once you get to this point. So why would you want one? It allows you to speed up repetitive tasks. It allows you to standardize your brand voice and tone if you're a marketer like me. It allows you to have a knowledge base assistant if you've got multiple employees that are trying to get everything consistently, shared with them. Some examples of Copilot agents that could be created: Copilot or ChatGPT, social media content writer, customer service coach, office assistant, training or onboarding bot, or event planner. So just to kind of get you thinking about it. We do have some more resources on this if this is something you want to go in deeper into. We've created one here for a marketing assistant. So basically we upload our brand guide and our list of competitors and the service areas that we serve, linked our website, linked our social media pages. We used all of those resources to build a custom agent all about Nex-Tech marketing. And then we can share that agent with all of our employees here and say, okay, next time you're working on a social media post or you're writing a blog post, you can use this agent that's really, really familiar with who we are and what we do. And it will check your tone, and it will, bring in things that it might not have known about otherwise. So just some examples of how you can really customize this to fit. All right. Olga's slide about AI for supervisors.
Yeah, so some of my use cases, since I'm not in a creative role, I still find AI incredibly powerful. Yes. So anything from, again, anywhere where you need to document, whether that's reviews, whether that's goals, whether that's processes, or you need to have stuff that you just need summarized or polished, is super helpful. And like Aubrey said, what it does is it obviously doesn't create a review for you, but it saves you a ton of time trying to polish it and put it in a nice structured format. You can teach it the format that you're using in your organization for reviews. Like Aubrey said, you can teach it your language and your tone. You can feed it previous reviews or anything like that, and then essentially say, mimic that tone, and you can essentially turn that review in just like that. It saves you hours and hours of editing, of trying to come up with good language and things like that, and it keeps it consistent. So as a supervisor, I use that all the time. Also, great example there, employee engagement ideas, right? Ideas around how can we have fun activities around the office, or give me ideas
Or
for an outing, and
virtually.
you can be, yeah, virtually,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
You can be even very specific and say, look at a town like Pace, Kansas, and give me ideas for group activities in that town and what the price ranges are. You can give it budgets and things like that. So again, it does just a lot of that research for you, and it does a lot of that tying it all together for you, which I absolutely love. Every manager in your organization will love that.
For sure. I had a note in my notes from January. January alone, I saved 20 hours of time writing annual reviews for my staff by
Fantastic.
using AI. So, and they were
The
still
other
really
thing,
great.
yeah, the
Yeah.
other thing, a lot of times you remember an instance that you want to remark on, but you maybe don't remember when that happened. And so you can query to find that specific meeting and get you an actual date. For example, at our quarterly meeting for this and that.
Yep.
It's perfect for that and saves you time to weed through your calendar trying to find things.
Yep.
Absolutely. And then, yeah, you had a great example on training, how to use it to train your staff.
Yes, this is kind of a long prompt, but stick with me. This is how we can simulate real customer service scenarios. And the scenario I'm going to give you here is a Nex-Tech example of how we would use it for our frontline CSRs as they deal with the public and our customers, right? But think about how this could apply for your business. Assuming that you've got frontline staff that deals with the public in some way, whether it's sales or service or anything, this could be used for that. But high level, the prompt basically asks AI to interact with the CSR, and you give it background about what the company is, where they work. Your goal is to simulate a realistic high-stakes customer call that tests the CSR's ability to provide great experience, explain products and services clearly, and resolve concerns effectively. Use information from Nex-Tech.com to make your character and needs feel real. Randomly choose one of the following call types, but don't tell the CSR in advance. A customer wanting to disconnect and switch to a competitor due to price or service. A billing concern about a recent price increase. A confused customer trying to understand what's on their bill. A customer calling to upgrade or ask about faster internet or TV now. So imagine what those situations would be for your business. Then begin the call as the customer and ask the CSR to respond as they normally would. Once the CSR replies, respond naturally in character and continue the simulation as a two-way conversation. Ask clarifying questions, raise objections, or express frustration if it fits your role. Once the role play is complete or the issue is resolved, pause the simulation and switch to a training coach role. As the coach, give the CSR a 1 to 10 score in empathy, clarity, product knowledge, persuasiveness, and customer retention skills. Provide specific coaching feedback on what they did well and how they could improve. Offer 1 to 2 tips on how they could, what they can use in future calls to elevate the experience, and optionally ask the CSR if they want to replay the call with a different approach or try a new scenario. Like I said, it's a very long prompt, but it's very, very powerful. So here's some screenshots of how this worked. It's been a few years since I was a CSR, but I put my CSR hat back on and I pretended to use this scenario for training. So I kicked off ChatGPT. I said, okay, begin the simulation. And it says, hi there, I'm calling because I need to talk to someone about my bill. It jumped up this month by about $30. No one told me anything was going to change. I'm really frustrated and trying to understand what happened. Can you help me? And then I responded as a CSR. And pro tip, use that dictation key. Remember before I was talking about the dictation key, use that to just speak to it and go back and forth in the conversation there. So I did. So I don't know, maybe 10, 15 messages. I went back and forth with ChatGPT pretending to be a CSR and answering their problems. And then after the simulation was done, it switched to the coaching mode and it gave me feedback on the interaction I had with them. It gave me a 7 on empathy and an 8 on clarity. And it told me exactly why it gave me those scores and what I could improve on. So here's my coaching tips. It says validate, then bridge. Before jumping into system changes, pause longer with empathy. It also says reframe the upgrade. Then it tells me what I did well. I didn't get defensive, yada, yada. And then at the end of the coaching, it says, what would you like to do? You want to replay it? See if you have learned and can do better. Try a different scenario or get a cheat sheet of common objections and how to handle them. So very simple thing for free that I was able to use to improve my customer service experience. So
yeah, and stuff that usually would
prompt.
take so much of human effort, right? For somebody to sit down and simulate that with you.
Exactly.
Huge, absolutely huge. As a supervisor manager, absolutely huge.
Yep, agreed. All right, we're getting to the last section here.
Yes.
Getting started with AI. We'll kick this to Olga.
Yeah, so let's get to kind of the hard stuff here on what does it cost? What's the ROI? So it's ChatGPT Plus is $20 a month subscription. You can buy Microsoft Copilot licenses through Nex-Tech or other resellers at about $35 a month. We would strongly recommend to review the licenses and the usage frequently because it's not an all or nothing approach. You don't have to have everyone in your tenant licensed. You can pick and choose. So definitely need to do that. The real cost with AI is really more around the soft cost of having someone to really dig in and, know what they're doing, research what they're doing, play with it, and then share it with the rest of the team. And next, like we have a quarterly AI Power Hour where we share those tips and really make sure that people adopt it. The other thing I wanted to mention, which kind of goes straight into kind of the next thing, is Copilot is tied into your tenant, and we'll talk about that a little bit, how the security implications. So again, like it doesn't have to be everyone on your tenant that has a Copilot license, but you do have to be aware of that. So some of the things that we would recommend before you get started of just buying licenses left and right is maybe either do a group of a couple of people that you're trying it out for and having your ducks in a row in terms of coming up with an AI policy. Hint, you can have AI help you formulating that,
Right.
or you can ask us and other vendor trusted partners that can help you with some of that, and set some boundaries before you let people loose and kind of talk to them about, train them on how to use it properly, train them on how to use it effectively and productively, but also some of the security risk. The biggest thing around the security risk, we'll kind of get to it on the next slide here, is around the difference between what access the AI engine has to what information. So ChatGPT, even the paid version, is still an open source resource. That means everything that you put on there is open source on the internet and public. So your people need to know that, and they need to be aware of that, even if they don't think it's sensitive information. Would you want a customer list of your best customers published on the internet? If the answer is no, you guys shouldn't be putting that kind of stuff into ChatGPT. Copilot is a little bit better when it comes to security and access because it follows your configurations for your user access. But with that, you have to be very careful whether your M365 instance is set up correctly. A lot of times people kind of set it up and forgot about it and never went back and looked at how their SharePoint is actually set up. Do you have a proper file and folder structure where the HR file is in a segregated place that only HR people have access to? Or could somebody in your company query somebody else's salary? So things like that you really, really need to be aware of in terms of data segregation, compliance, and making sure you have your ducks in a row before you get started on that. Otherwise, you can get rogue pretty quickly. And the key is here that you're giving everybody access to kind of your gold, which is your data. So we have about a minute left to kind of do a little bit of brainstorming around AI and where it's going to go in the future. So will AI replace my employees? Aubrey and I talked about this. I have not seen that in the industry yet, I will say. I think the thing that we've seen is that the people that really make use of this are shifting the workload for their people, and they're able to deliver the same service or more service with kind of the same amount of people. And it is shifting what your people are spending their time to do. And so I think that's where I see a competitive edge. What are your thoughts, Aubrey?
Yeah, even coming from the marketing department, I think a lot of the examples that you see everywhere on the internet about how AI can help you, a lot of those examples are marketing. It's generating images, it's writing copy, it's doing wireframe layouts for websites. Like there are a lot of marketing things that it can do, and we are still hiring people. Like we love that our team is using it to be more efficient and be more creative, and it's basically like an extra employee that's right there with them all the time to do brainstorming with. So no, I agree. I don't think it's replacing employees yet. It's hard to say what's going to happen in the long term.
Yeah, exactly. The
Definitely
technology is
helping
still
us.
in its infancy, right?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. I asked Aubrey, can AI run my business? And her answer was like, depends for how long,
Right.
which I absolutely love that.
Yeah.
So, can you sit on a beach somewhere? It can take a lot of things off your plate and it, again, can make you a lot more efficient. Maybe you could turn a 3-day vacation into a 2-week vacation without things, falling from the sky. But unless you create a completely virtual avatar of yourself, which you can do, it probably can't quite replace you yet entirely. Is that paraphrasing correctly?
Yeah. Yeah. I was in a conference months ago and somebody had kind of brought up this idea like this. Can it replace people? Can I use it to do my job? Their theory was where they see this long-term going is like kind of as a society changing our work-life balance. Like instead of us all working 5 days a week, 40 hours, like maybe AI can help us with some of the busy work of our jobs and we can all work 4 days a week, 32 hours, and that's a full-time job with benefits, right? So that's kind of what excites me about this is like how as a society we could change the work-life balance,
Yeah, and
get
how you can
back
again
in.
Generate the same amount of revenue with maybe
Exactly.
less human
Exactly.
resources, not less resources, yes, human resources.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you for that thought-provoking idea.
Yeah.
So really, kind of to sum it up, it can be overwhelming, but we'd love for you to think of your Nex-Tech peeps as partners that can help you with
Yeah.
that. You can tap into our expertise. We love talking about the stuff.
Yep.
We do have tools to review your AI readiness. Again, talking about cybersecurity, data segregation, some of that kind of stuff. And of course, we can help you just purchase those licenses as well. But first and foremost, come and talk to us about your questions that you might have.
Yep.
And we have a little nugget here to finish it up for you. So if you
Yeah.
guys would love the prompt library spreadsheet and some of our other tools like the slide deck and the AI policy sample, email me directly, odetri@nextech.com, and we will get that to you. And we would love to hear. I'm going to throw out a challenge here. Send me an email what your golden nugget from this presentation was. What is one thing that you took away that you hadn't heard before, or that you learned, or that you will put into action tomorrow? I would love to hear that.
Right. We'll let
Perfect.
Jody push the magic buttons to allow people to ask questions and come off mute.
All
Yeah.
right. Yes. Nope. I
Well,
have. Yep, I've done that. If anybody has any questions, feel free to unmute and ask. I know we're just a little bit over time, but I don't want to. I don't want to have any lingering questions out there. Olga's email address is on the screen. Definitely reach out if you have any questions or want to continue this conversation. Like they both said, AI is a very powerful tool, and we definitely need to embrace it. It's not going away, so definitely need to embrace it and help make all of our lives easier at work and at home, it sounds like. So
Yeah.
yeah, and I love
Yeah.
how one of the, I know Otter is one of the tools out there. I love how somebody here sent their AI bot to sit in this webinar. So there you go.
Seeing
We're
lots of
not
that.
offended at all. We think it's a brilliant idea. If someone wanted to begin a career in the AI field, what would you recommend? Oh, that's an excellent question. Aubrey, if you have an
Yeah.
answer, I'll let you go. Otherwise, I'll
I don't
spit
know.
off some thoughts.
We're starting to see this more pop up more in universities and things as things to study. I know there are lots of companies that are starting to open AI positions, and there are some even around this area in Western Kansas. So there are going to be more coming online soon. If someone wanted to begin a career, I don't know. I think probably just studying online and getting ahead of the curve and just embracing the change. That's really what this is.
So I think I'd be curious if they would be interested in kind of the user functions of AI. I think there's a lot out there that you can do kind of on your own, either online, that kind of stuff, or if they're interested in more some of the back end stuff of how large language models work.
Yeah.
And that will probably go more into, either development, programming, kind of talking about like a low profile languages, development languages. So either that kind of stuff, or if you're interested in looking at from an IT perspective of, how do you embed that now into your application? So I think the first thing would be interesting in what pieces of this interests you. And I think there's related fields already out there that you could probably hook into. But like Aubrey said, I think you're going to see in the next year or two, this absolutely exploding at colleges and from different angles. I hope that answered your question, Jamie. Feel free to reach out or speak up, and we'd love to have a conversation more about that.
all right.
All right.
Absolutely. Thank you, she said. Perfect.
Any other questions?
Okay.
It's a big topic. We could talk for hours on this, like, so if you want more, definitely reach out.
Definitely. Well, thank you guys. I do want to be mindful of everyone's time. So thank you so much for presenting this information to us, Olga and Aubrey, and thank all the participants for taking time out of your day to join us.